Welcome back to another episode of the What We're Watching podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Jenny, and today we're talking about Twitches.
Happy October, everyone. We made it.
We made it.
Why is this our favorite month of the podcast? It just is. It makes me so happy.
If we had double the episodes in October, honestly, if we did Halloween episodes September and October, I'd be a happy girl.
Absolutely. I feel that way, actually. I think about all of our themed eras that we do. Like the Halloween movies, the Christmas, there's like holiday winter cozy movies, and then the rom-coms in February. I feel like those are our main themed months. I would double them in a heartbeat.
I would too. And last year, I feel like we did fall TV shows, which we probably won't do this year, but I thought that was kind of fun too. Because I feel like in the fall, everyone's talking about watching Gilmore Girls, rewatching like all of the like Gossip Girl, all of those kind of like fall shows.
Yeah, I've seen so much. Gilmore Girls, Gossip Girls, Friends.
I love fall.
It's the season.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we're starting off our Halloween month with Twitches too. What do you think about this movie?
It was one of my favorite Halloween movies growing up, so I was so happy to rewatch it.
Same. When was the last time you watched it?
Oh gosh. Sometime in high school, probably. So like 2010s. How about you?
A while ago, yeah. I watched it like 2 years ago, I think.
Okay.
Because I was on a kick of trying to watch every Halloween movie from my childhood that I missed. And that was really fun. I highly recommend that to everyone. But before that, I hadn't seen it since I was a kid.
Very nostalgic.
One of my favorites. And I think you guys really like this one too because it was highly requested.
I know. I was very impressed. We were all on the same wavelength.
Yeah, little did you know that when we put that poll on our Instagram story, we already knew we were covering this one.
I know. We were recording the same day, actually.
Yeah.
Just a quick reminder, if you guys have been liking the podcast and if you're looking forward to the rest of our Halloween episodes, leave us a review wherever you're listening.
Yeah, we really appreciate your reviews. Thank you. It really helps the podcast out a lot, and we want to keep doing this for a long time.
So the logline for this movie is, reunited on their 21st birthday, twin sisters use their magic powers to save their kingdom from the forces of darkness.
I feel like this movie is everything you wanted as a kid. You wanted to have a twin if you didn't have a twin.
A secret unknown twin. A surprise twin.
And you wanted to have magic powers and be a witch. Or at least I did.
Oh, same. There is something about that, like I'm thinking of Harry Potter too, where it's like everybody just wants to turn a certain age and find out that you're special and magical, and then everything changes, you know?
Yes.
There's just something fun about that. I love that plot in kid movies.
Me too. And I think that's why this movie resonates with so many of us and why we love it so much. And also, I just love Tia and Tamera Mowry.
Me too.
I remember watching Sister Sister. I think anything they were in, I was like, yeah, I'll watch it.
Also, they are good actresses.
This movie held up.
It was a little bit like cringe and youthful, as you would expect from any Disney Channel original movie. But I did not find myself going like, oh, the acting is bad, or even I didn't notice as much that the dialogue was super, juvenile sounding or basic. And I think it's because they actually just are good actors. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I think they're great.
No, they were really good in this movie. I thought the exact same thing because I think we're used to seeing like Disney Channel original movies where like, I don't know, the dialogue could be cringy and then the acting is cringy too. But this one, there were definitely places where the dialogue was cringy. And Tia and Tamera just crushed it. And all the other actors too, to be honest, like the friend character.
Yes.
Amazing. And I will say her dialogue was good. So like some characters had really good dialogue.
Agreed. So this movie came out in 2005 and it's actually based on a book series called Twitches.
What?
I know. And there are 10 novels in the book series.
I want to read it immediately.
I know, I had no idea.
Really? I would have loved that as a kid. I would have eaten that up.
I know. I assume because there's 10 that they were like the short, I'm envisioning like, I didn't even read these, but like the Nancy Drew or like the Magic Treehouse, like short, snappy novels. That's what I'm imagining. I don't know if that's accurate.
Goosebumps.
Exactly, yeah. So if you guys read those growing up, you'll have to let us know. The movie was written by Dan Berenson, and he also wrote for Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Wizards of Waverly Place, and Halloween Town High.
All of our favorite witch shows and movies?
I know. It's not crazy. So maybe that's why the dialogue we thought was pretty good.
Wow.
I know. It's like he really found a niche. He just found a niche and he buried himself in it. And good for him.
Teen witch.
Yes. Teen girl witch. I love that.
I want that to be my niche.
Same. If I could live in one niche, it's that. It's girly teenage witch.
Halloween Town? Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like the main thing that we need to talk about when it comes to this movie is Tia and Tamera, obviously.
Of course.
So they have an interesting family background. They were actually both born in Germany, which, fun fact, I actually have twin uncles that were also born in Germany for the same reason, because their parents were stationed there for the military.
Are they Torlocks?
What is that?
Twin warlocks?
I thought this was going to be some term for people that were like conceived on a military base. No, just making a punny joke.
Sorry, I'm so dumb.
Oh, that was incredible. So their dad was in the US Army and he was stationed in Germany. And then after Germany, they moved around a little bit, as many military families do. They lived in Texas and Hawaii and then in California. And they moved to California, I believe, when the girls were 12 for their acting careers. And then I thought this was interesting. After they did Sister Sister, both girls went to Pepperdine to study psychology, but ultimately ended up returning to acting.
Okay, slay.
I know.
Love it.
And they also have two brothers. I believe they both did a little bit of acting. One of them was on Disney Channel. He actually did a few projects.
Taj Mowry.
Yes, he did a few projects with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have another brother who was a soccer player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not an actor.
I think he maybe did a couple of like little things, but that was not his main career.
Okay, cool. So let's dive into Tia a little bit more. She plays Alex.
So she was married to actor Corey Hardrict, I think that's how you say his name, from 2008 to 2023. And he's in a lot of things. There were only a few that I recognize that I feel like you guys would recognize, but he's been in a ton of stuff. He was in American Sniper, Warm Bodies, He's Just Not That Into You, All American Homecoming, the TV show, and like I said, a bunch of other things.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I definitely recognize him.
Okay, yeah. I think a lot of you guys probably would. And they have two kids together, Cree and Cairo. And I thought this was very cool. She's always been very open about her endometriosis diagnosis, which I feel like there's just not enough awareness about. I know women that have this, and I think it's really important and cool that she talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
She actually shared maternity photos on Instagram and said in the caption, "I've always been incredibly outspoken about my endometriosis diagnosis because I know the fear and sense of isolation all too well. Looking back at these photos reminds me how fierce and faithful I had to be. Thankfully, as women, each of us has the ability to draw on that and lean on each other. I do it all for my Cree and Cairo and would do it all over again for them too."
That's actually really sweet and inspiring because endometriosis is one of those things that just sounds so horrible and hard to deal with. And any like issues that women face, especially like health related, I just feel like either don't get taken seriously or they don't get spoken about enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that.
I know, agreed. She had another post that had a great caption where she said, "I wasn't even sure I would get there. I was so scared when I first heard my diagnosis, thinking I might not be able to have kids. And I know that I'm not the only one who has been on that same journey, but I learned that having endo doesn't necessarily mean that a person's dream of having a child won't come true. And after making dietary changes, focusing on my health, and a lot of prayer came my beautiful children. So for others out there with endometriosis, I see you. I send you love, strength, encouragement, and healing."
That's sweet.
Yeah, I just love that she's open about it.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, she's an outspoken supporter of mental health and therapy. In an interview, I read that she said, "I realized after the passing of two family members, one was old and one was young, how short life really is. I needed to find my peace and my true happiness and focus on my mental health and start therapy. I've been in talk therapy for 3 years now. I've become extremely intentional when it comes to my mental health. The past few years were a wake-up call. Life is short and you need to make sure you are well mentally. As a Black woman in our culture, therapy isn't something we grew up doing and mental health wasn't something we were mindful of."
That's important.
Yeah. She also wrote a book about pregnancy that came out in 2012, and she's written 2 cookbooks that came out in 2017 and 2021.
Wait, I would love to check out her cookbooks.
I know.
Does she have like a cooking show or like a cooking YouTube or something? Why is this unlocking a memory?
That would not surprise me. I found a ton of actually just like random projects that both of them have done over the years. I think the main thing that people know her from more recently is the Netflix sitcom Family Reunion.
Mm-hmm.
But she might have also done something with cooking. I don't know.
And didn't they have like a reality TV show or something at one
They
point?
did have a reality TV show together, yes.
Okay.
It was pretty short-lived, I believe, but they did have one.
Interesting. And then we have Tamera Mowry Housley, who plays Cameron.
So she's been married to Adam Housley since 2011, and he was actually a professional baseball player. And then for a long time, I don't know if he still is, but for a long time, he was a journalist for Fox News, which there's been a lot of like mixed feelings about online, understandably. And they actually have 2 kids together named Aiden and Aria. I read some quotes about her wanting to make sure that everyone said her kid's name right, so she spelled it phonetically. She's done a bunch of Hallmark and Lifetime movies since being on Disney Channel. And she was a talk show host for 7 years. So that's, I'm guessing, what a lot of you guys might have seen her in more recently. She was a co-host of The Real, that was the name of the talk show, from 2013 to 2020. And she ultimately left around the time of the pandemic to spend more time with her family.
I didn't know that. Interesting. Well, should we get into the movie?
Let's do it. So the movie opens with this like kind of dark and scary scene at what looks like this haunted castle on a mountaintop. And there's a narration that says that darkness has overpowered the forces of light in Coventry. And then we see this sun and moon symbol on the castle floor. This is important throughout the movie. And the narration continues and says, "The twin daughters of the sun and the moon were born on Halloween, and so was a new hope. The prophecy says that only twin witches can restore Coventry's light."
We see dark clouds fill the castle, and 2 people who work at the castle run into the nursery and grab the baby twins and decide to take them to a different dimension to keep them safe. We see that Artemis is wearing a moon necklace and Apollo is wearing a sun necklace, which this Artemis and Apollo thing just like made me laugh the entire time because obviously it's after Artemis and Apollo, who are twins, I believe, in Greek mythology. And I just thought it was funny that they were like, nope, it's Apollo.
I know. when I was working on this outline at first, I wrote Apollo because I was like, obviously. And then I was like, hang on, are they saying Apollo? Like Paula? Huh. Interesting choice.
It's funny.
Yeah. And then we jump to 21 years later, and it's Halloween, so it's the girl's 21st birthday. And Apollo, who now goes by Cameron, her parents bring her a birthday cake in the morning into her room, and they're complimenting her drawings, and you can tell that she just comes from this like very supportive family environment. And we also see that one of the drawings looks just like her, but is wearing a moon necklace. So we know that that's actually Artemis, her twin.
Her parents were so cute.
Her parents are the MVPs of this movie. I love them.
They have great dialogue. They're good actors. It was fun to watch them. I loved them in every single scene.
Their chemistry was great with each other and with Tamera.
So then we see Artemis, who's now called Alex. She gets woken up by her best friend Lucinda and Lucinda's little sister with a bowl of yogurt that has a candle in it, like a birthday candle. And we find out that Alex's mom has passed away. They're 2 very different lives. One is getting cake from her parents, and then one is getting a bowl of like cereal and yogurt that looks really interesting.
And then we go back to Cameron, who's playing tennis with her dad, and we're just seeing more and more of the girls' homes and environments. And so like Cameron is playing on this private tennis court, and you can tell she grew up in a very wealthy family, and this kind of becomes a theme and just like an interesting dynamic between the 2 girls throughout the movie. And while they're playing tennis, Cameron's parents are talking about the extravagant party that they planned for her that night.
Alex and Lucinda walk to the bus stop, and we find out that Alex is staying with her because she's looking for a job and doesn't have anywhere else to live right now. Alex tells her that she feels like something horrible is going to happen today.
And I want to say right before this, or maybe right after, we also see Cameron say, "I think something great is going to happen today." So they're just like constantly comparing the girls' like dispositions, which end up becoming relevant to like their powers.
Yeah, they're the sun and the moon.
Totally.
Side note, while we're talking about it, growing up, did you have a favorite? Because I definitely did.
Oh, between Tia and Tamera?
Like, I had one who I related to the most.
Oh, I think I did, but I don't remember.
Okay.
What did you think?
All right. I was Alex. She was my fave.
Yeah, she was my favorite now, too.
Us introverts, you know?
Yeah. As the girls get on the bus, we see Karsh sitting behind them, and this is Alex's guardian who brought her to this dimension at the beginning of the movie. So we're meeting those two people that like took the babies and took them away to save them. His name is Karsh. And then outside the window of the bus, we see Cameron and her friend Beth pull up in a convertible right next to them. And so we can see that they're right next to each other, but the girls don't notice each other yet.
Then Cameron's guardian, Ileana, sees her predict that her friend Beth wants to shop for shoes. And she says, "Oh my gosh, you're so ready." Which Ileana and Karsh, just special shout out to them because they are so fun also in this movie.
Yeah, they're like little fairy godmothers. And I like them especially in the beginning because the girls don't know who they are. So they're just like strangers that pop in and make comments and then leave. And so it's kind of funny.
Yeah, and they are very similar to each girl that they watched over.
Totally.
That's kind of fun. So Cameron and Beth walk into a store, and then Karsh conjures help wanted signs on the store to get Alex to go into it. It's like help wanted, and then there's another sign. Alex keeps ignoring them, and then he puts up another one that's like, we're desperate.
Yeah.
And finally she's like, okay, I guess I'll go in.
Yeah. I think he then makes a comment and is like, what? She's just really stubborn. So you just can tell that they've been doing this their whole lives, so it's very cute.
Mm-hmm.
We see Alex go in and ask about the job, and after complimenting the like main retail worker's shoes, she ends up getting the job. And then as she's cleaning out the dressing rooms, Alex and Cameron see each other for the first time. And Alex freaks out, but Cameron is so excited. She's like, this must be the life-changing event that I thought was going to happen today. And they both think this, but Alex thought something bad was going to happen, and Cameron thought something good was going to happen. And they both think that this is that thing. So Alex runs out of the store, and Cameron runs out after her and catches her by the hand. And when their hands touch, everything around them turns to slow motion. And Karsh says, what's done is done, and his pendant glows.
And then we cut to a woman running through the Coventry Castle, and this is the girl's mother. She's desperately searching for someone named Thantos, and when she finds him, she tells him the girls are alive and together. She can feel it.
So their mother in this movie, Miranda, is played by an actress named Kristen Wilson, and she is actually only 9 years older than them in real life.
Wow. That's like an Amy Poehler, Regina George situation.
I know.
Thantos says that if he and Miranda know that the girls are alive and together, then they aren't the only ones who know, and that means the girls are in danger. He says that he'll go find them because he makes a comment that Miranda can't leave Coventry because if something happens to her, then everything will be bad.
Mm-hmm.
So to keep her safe, he's going to go look for them.
We see the girls leave the store together so that they can like bond and spend time together. And Alex sees Cameron's Porsche convertible, and we can tell immediately that she's just like, oh, we're different. Like she's like judging, but also maybe a little bit jealous and just like, I don't know, this just becomes a sort of like a tension between them a little bit.
They do such a good job of that, by the way, because I do feel like that's a very accurate representation of like growing up and feeling like you're a different class than your friends, which was like the case for me.
Mm-hmm.
I always lived in apartments, and my friends always had nuclear families and they lived in houses. And so for me, I did feel this like kind of judging and jealous thing where I would be like, oh, well, your parents bought you a car. Like, you know, you live in this nice house in this certain neighborhood that means a certain thing. And so, yeah, I felt like they did a good job of capturing that like real feeling.
Totally.
That I'm not saying is good, but it's just...
No, I just think it's true. I mean, Brian and I talk about this all the time whenever we know somebody who like leaves their job to go work for their parents' company, or like their parents buy them a house, or like help them like pay for their down payment on a house or something. When something like that happens, we're always just like, we just get the total like, must be nice. But it's judgy. It's not even like it's actual jealousy, or it doesn't come out as just jealousy, even though that's part of it. Totally. I would not change a single thing about my upbringing, but it is funny how like there is that tension. And then I do have friends that grew up much wealthier who totally have the same attitude as Cameron, who are just like, oh my God, but it doesn't matter. Like, this is just come to my house. It's so fun. You know, like they're not,
Yeah.
there's no ounce of judgment from them. So it's just, they did a good job portraying it. I totally agree.
Yeah. They did. They did. And for the record, anybody who does get help from their parents, like, good for you, Slay.
Slay.
That's awesome.
Major slay. Major slay.
It's a personal issue I have with scarcity mindset. It's not you.
Oh, totally. Totally. While they're in the car together, Alex tells Cameron that her mom died 3 months ago, and Cameron reaches out and touches her hand, and their magic starts up again, and every light turns on in the car, and the windshield wiper fluid starts going. And it's just like a very funny moment that they're like discovering that this magic happens when they're together. And so they drive around, and Cameron convinces her to grab hands again so they can use their magic to swap clothes. And this, again, is just like a funny difference in their personalities where Cameron's like, ooh, we should try swapping clothes. This would be so fun. And Alex is like, fine. And it works. And then Alex obviously quickly swaps their clothes right back.
Ugh, love that, though. So cool.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to Cameron's house, and her room is huge. She has a full living room, basically, inside her room with, like, a TV and, like, a big entertainment system. And she uses magic to open her dresser drawer, and it works. And then she asks Alex to try it with her together, and the drawer ends up flying across the room.
Fun fact, Cameron's house in this movie is the same house they used as Regina George's house in Mean Girls.
I think we said last episode that we can make anything a Mean Girls reference.
Yes, we can. And here it is.
Here it is. Here's the second one, because I think I already mentioned Regina George earlier. I didn't recognize it at all.
No, I didn't either, but you can look it up online, and the photos of like them pulling around in the convertible, it's almost the same shot as when Regina pulls up in her car and like Amy Poehler, I think, comes outside. It's the same front of the house.
Same thing, just add Halloween decorations.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
It's not fun.
I see it. Then Alex sees Cameron's bulletin board, which is covered in drawings of Coventry, their mother, a castle, and even that drawing of Alex that we saw earlier. And Cameron says sometimes she just sees things, but she always thought it was just her imagination. And then she'll like draw out what she sees.
Then the girls walk through the door into Cameron's closet, but it's actually a portal. And on the other side of the door is Coventry. When they walk out, Cameron says it feels like she's been here before, and then we see Ileana and Karsh are there. And they explain that the girls' father died the day they were born, and Ileana and Karsh were put in charge of watching over the girls. They also tell them that the future of Coventry is in their hands. So we get the classic, like, dun 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 line.
I know this is a Disney Channel original movie with probably a low budget, but do we ever see anybody who actually lives in Coventry?
No.
Because I feel like all we see are the mom, Thantos, Ileana, and Karsh, and it's like, well, who cares about protecting Coventry? No one lives here.
Yes, agreed. We don't see 1 second of like the townspeople that I assume must be there.
And the castle is empty at all times.
Empty. No one works there. There's no people. Totally.
Not a soul.
Not an extra in sight.
Well, they saved money there, that's for sure. We also find out here that Alex has the gift of knowing. She used to write about Coventry and the darkness when she was a kid. And she says she already knows how this story will end and that she doesn't want to be a part of it. And the girls storm off, and Ileana says, so sweet. I wonder if we should have told them they're marked for death.
Then back in Cameron's room, Alex tells her that their father didn't just die the day they were born. He was killed trying to protect them. So the girls agree that they're in this together, and they set off to help.
We see the darkness cloud seep into Cameron's house. It's very scary. It's like this big, smoky looking thing with like red streaks in it. And it burns her drawings. And no one sees but the housekeeper, who obviously freaks out.
Back at the castle, the girls' mother, Miranda, says they have to do everything they can to find the girls. Thantos says that she has to stay in the castle so that she can protect her people from the darkness in case it comes. And he also says that the more the girls use their magic, the easier it will be to find them. And then we see them casually kiss, so we know that they're together.
Weird.
Weird.
It'll become weirder later, trust me.
We talked about this, actually.
When?
Sorry, this is skipping ahead, but we find out that Thantos is the girls' father's brother, so their uncle. We talked about this in the A Simple Favor episode where I was like, I swear this is a true crime phenomenon where when someone dies, that person's spouse ends up with their sibling.
Yes, you're right.
The sibling and the spouse get together. This is a thing, as proven by Twitches.
This whole time I was like, Miranda, how could you do that to Aaron?
Mm-hmm.
How could you date his brother after he died valiantly? Maybe there's nobody else in Coventry.
They're the only two people left.
We don't see anyone else.
That's true. That's true.
Thantos also tells Miranda that the girls may not want to be found. After all, they stayed hidden for 21 years. What if they're in league with the darkness, he says. And this is actually where we find out that he is the king's brother, so yeah. And we also find out that Miranda thinks Ileana and Karsh died the same night that her husband did.
So the girls go to Alex's house to find the stories that she wrote about Coventry. After they go to Alex's house, they walk around, and Alex tells Cameron all the stories that she remembers of Coventry, of like how it came to be and what happened to it. And she says that right before their dad died, he gave them all of his power, so when the darkness tried to get them, it was repelled away from the castle.
I love that they both have like the power of sight or whatever you would call it, but they channel it in different ways, one through images and one through words.
Totally. Also, this was giving Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like the parent in the room defending the baby, and then they give the baby this like special power that banishes the darkness. I was like,
And that power is love?
Yes. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, but I know you guys have all seen it. The girls go to the diner where Lucinda works so that Cameron can meet her. And as they eat, they go through Alex's journals and they find spells. And they try one and they make this guy's drink explode in his face. And then they say the iconic line that we all know from this movie where they go, "Go Twitches, go Twitches." And it's very cute. And then we see a montage of the girls walking around town doing spells now that they know that they can.
Then we see that the darkness has spread to their town, and it bursts through Alex's kitchen window while the girls are talking. And so they run upstairs to get away, and they go through a door, which ends up being a portal to Coventry. Karsh and Ileana are there in Coventry to greet them, and they tell them that there can be no doubt next time they fight the darkness. Trusting in themselves and their powers is the only way they'll win.
Cameron says she has to get home to her birthday party, and she doesn't want to fight the darkness anymore. Alex says they need to stay and save their mother. But Cameron says she feels safer at home where nothing bad ever happens to her, and she storms back through the portal. And also in this moment, I believe that we see that Cameron feels a sense of loyalty to her mom. And so she feels like by accepting and reaching out to her biological mother, she'll be
like betraying her adopted mom.
Yeah, betraying her mom. We'll get into it later, but I just feel like they handled adoption in a really interesting and good way in this movie, and so that was very realistic.
Agreed. I was going to say that I feel like two different things are happening here. That, like the conflict of the adopted kid, which I'm sure is probably very realistic to what that situation feels like. And then also this is where we see the sort of difference in class kind of blow up into an argument. So Cameron makes a comment, like you said, that she feels safer at home and nothing bad ever happens to her there. And I think Alex is just like, you can tell she's just like, that's because you're in the situation that you're in. And I think she says, way worse things have happened to me. Like, well, way worse things have happened to me, so I don't have the luxury, basically, of running away from this.
Yeah, she's like, this is not the worst thing that has happened to me.
Yeah, so it's an interesting, just like, this is where that kind of comes to a head, too.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see each of the girls back home, and they're each venting to their best friend. And Alex and Lucinda end up getting in an argument because Alex makes a comment that she can't count on anyone. And Lucinda's just like, I just made you a birthday cake, and I've been here for you for your whole life, so what are you talking about? And so after Alex and Lucinda's argument, Alex opens a portal to Coventry to go back and help. And she walks through a door into the castle and sees Miranda, her mother, for the first time in real life. And they have this very sweet meeting, and they both cry. And Miranda says, every day for 21 years, I never stopped. I always hoped.
So sweet.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Cameron's fabulous Halloween-themed birthday party. But Cameron is clearly upset, and she leaves the party. And her mom comes outside to talk to her, and she says that Beth, Cameron's friend, told her everything, and that if she really has a new sister, that's wonderful. Cameron tells her mom that they got in an argument because Alex wants to find their birth mom, and Cameron's mom tells her, love is infinite. You can always make more if you need it. And just because you want to give some to someone else doesn't mean it's going to take any away from me. And I thought that was beautiful.
Slay. Talk about not having a scarcity mindset. Also, just her mom in this moment is everything that I want to be one day as a mom. Like, the fact that she could so calmly come up to her and be like, Beth told me everything, and if you do have a new sister, that's great. And not just like, what is going on? I thought this was lovely and just like exactly what she needed to hear in the moment, and such a good sentiment.
Yeah. And I just feel like it's important to have more stories about adoption because we don't get a lot of them. There are people close to me who this is very important to. And so for me, it's always something that I notice and like don't take lightly when adoption is portrayed in this positive way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really important. This movie tackled a lot of, now that we're talking through it, I'm realizing that this movie tackled a lot of big topics. And I think that is really cool. And this is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And even just like the minute topics within the big topics. Like they're talking about adoption, and within that, they're talking about like being able to love multiple people and how that's okay. And you have enough to give multiple people, and there doesn't have to be the feeling that it's one person or the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool.
I love it.
Also, fun fact, in the birthday party scene, Tia played her sister's character.
Nuh-uh.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how and why?
I don't know if it was in this particular scene where she's sitting talking to her mom, but I know for some part of the birthday party, they like swapped. I think one of them was sick. I'm guessing it's when she was wearing the mask. Because, you know, one of them has the mole on their face, and the mask would have hidden it, or they just hid it with makeup or afterwards. I'm not sure. But isn't that cool?
Okay, that's crazy because I always pride myself on being able to tell them apart. And like when people are like, oh my gosh, in the movies, they're like, I couldn't tell you apart for a second. I'm like, how? To me, they look different.
Yeah.
And well, I got fooled, guys.
To be fair, I think it was really quick. But cool that they could do that they look enough alike that they could do that.
Yeah.
At the end of the conversation with her mom, I think Cameron is like, and that's not all. And she like turns around, which is such a relatable, just like teenage girl thing to do. I don't know. I'm sure that I did this at some point when you're like scared to say something. So you just turn around and you just like blurt it all out. And she says, they're from another dimension. They have magical powers and they're trying to beat the darkness. And her mom, again, instead of freaking out about all this information, is like, you know, you used to have bad dreams about a darkness and you used to tell the same story. You even used to draw faces in the darkness. And so then Cameron runs inside to find those old drawings to see if there's any clues in them. And she does. And the drawing of the face coming out of the darkness is her uncle Thantos.
We cut to Coventry Castle, and Alex meets Thantos in person, who tells her that Cameron is in danger. The darkness won't leave her alone just because she left Coventry. And actually, it makes Cameron more vulnerable because she's not with her sister.
So then we cut to Cameron's house, and sure enough, the darkness is coming inside. Ileana and Karsh are there, and they get Cameron and tell her that she has to get back to Coventry where she'll be safe. And then the darkness is like chasing after them, and the darkness does grab Ileana and Karsh, so they're gone. And then Cameron's mom barges into her room right as the darkness is about to get her, and the darkness leaves. So once again, this is like a parent's love saving their kid from the darkness.
Yep. Back in Coventry, Thantos says that Cameron is being controlled by the darkness, and they have to seal the castle against her. But wait. He's a little bit too late because Cameron beat him there about 5 minutes before, and the three women confront him and show him Cameron's drawing of him in the darkness.
Thantos immediately denies everything and says that he would never hurt his own brother, but the girls know that he's lying, and so they remove his gloves and see the sun and moon scars on his hands. Which I don't remember them talking about this beforehand, so I don't know why this was such a dead giveaway, but I guess because the symbols represent the girls.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's like
when he tried to get them as
Harry
babies.
Potter,
It is, but it's on the bad guy.
which makes more sense. Like he got damaged, you know?
Right. Right. Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting. And once they reveal these scars on his hands, he confesses. But he says that this is only just the beginning, and then the darkness starts coming into the castle.
Miranda tells the girls to stay back, but then realizes her powers are gone, and Thanatos grabs her and escapes. So Alex and Cameron grab hands. They start to try and focus on light because they think that that is the opposite of darkness, but it's not working. And then they realize that no, the opposite of darkness is actually love. And if they concentrate on love, maybe they can defeat the darkness. And it works. And the girls name everyone they love. And it actually like made me tear up a little bit when Cameron is like, who do you love most in the world? And Alex goes, my mom.
I know.
It made me so sad, and I just felt for her.
And then Cameron is like, my parents. I was just like, ah. It's really sweet.
And then the darkness is banished from Coventry because of the power of their love. And also, did we ever get a backstory on why Thanatos betrayed his brother?
No.
Interesting. He's just evil for no reason.
I don't know. I mean, I think we're left to assume that it's because he would become king if he married Miranda, and maybe he had feelings for Miranda and or wanted to be the king.
Okay.
But no, they did not explicitly say that, which is weird.
All right.
Although I will say, actually, going back a couple of scenes where Cameron's mom opens the door and saves her from the darkness, I actually think it's very cool that they made that correlation to then the girl's birth parents.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I think that's cool that because then it's showing like their biological dad did that and then her adoptive mother did that.
And it's like the love is the same.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship is still like, that's your mom.
And that's kind of, they talk about that when they realize that the opposite of darkness is love. Because I think Alex tells her like, focus on the light. And Cameron's like, wait, my mom saved me and she wasn't thinking about the light. She was thinking about me because she loves me. Mm-hmm. And then they get to the love from there. So anyway.
Ugh, it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it's important. There's a lot of, as we're talking through it again, I know I just said this, but like there's a lot of intention and like meaning behind all the things that happen in this movie, which is really cool.
I feel like that's why we still like it and that's why it holds up, because even if you don't really think about these things and verbalize them, you like get it on the inside, you know?
Yeah, you absorb it still. So now that the darkness is banished, Miranda, Ileana, and Karsh all come back. And they all go back to Cameron's house, and Ileana and Karsh have this funny conversation about whether they're going to buy a house in this dimension. They're like, it's cheaper here, and they have chicken wings.
I was dying.
I know, me too. I was like, this is the most real conversation they've had. This whole, like, most relevant to me. It's funny.
Karsh is like, we need to choose a more affordable dimension to live in.
Yeah, that's what he says, yeah. And she's like, but this one has chicken wings and they're only 10 cents a wing on Tuesdays or something.
Which is so like women in their relationship versus men, or the trope at least.
No,
it's like girl math. It's like, well, they're 10 cents on this day.
Yeah,
so
we can't save on the house because I want a pool, but we can save on the chicken wings.
I love girl math.
I know. We see that Miranda is also there at Cameron's house. Cameron's parents say that they're surprised to learn about, you know, her surprise background and her having powers, but they always knew that she was special. And Cameron says, see, I knew something wonderful was going to happen today. And then the two girls hug, and that's the end.
It was so cute.
So cute.
I'm so glad that we watched this. I don't know why we didn't last year. I think it was on the list, but there's only so many weeks in October.
I know. Thankfully, this year there's 5. So we're getting a full 5 Halloween spooky episodes. And you guys have been giving us a lot of good ideas on Instagram about the movies you want us to cover, and we're listening.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So the last thing we need to say about Twitches is about Twitches 2, obviously. I'm sure all of you guys also watched Twitches 2.
Duh.
It came out 2 years later in 2007. And the first trailer, this is like good grounding just in just of the world that we were in at this time, okay? The first trailer for Twitches 2 premiered during the High School Musical 2 premiere.
Oh my gosh. In the summertime. had to be in the summer.
Mm-hmm. And then after the Twitches 2 premiere on Disney Channel was the first episode of Wizards of Waverly Place.
Wow.
I know. I'm like, what a stacked night. I'm sure I watched it too. I'm sure I watched Twitches 2 and then Wizards of Waverly Place.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of miss the days when something would premiere on Disney Channel. Like, I'm remembering the Read It and Weep premiere that I forced my friends to watch at a sleepover.
Yeah.
It's like, I miss just knowing, oh, on Friday, this thing is coming out and I can't wait to watch it.
I'm
going to be in front of my TV with millions of other kids watching it.
I know. I feel like we're getting a little bit of that back, like with some of the streamers doing weekly episodes, which I actually like. Like, I watch The Bachelor. That's obviously not on a streaming service. I just watch it on Hulu sometimes, but that comes out weekly and that's really nice. I watch Survivor, which is on weekly, which is really nice.
When Love is Blind is on weekly,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everyone's like catching up and then talking about it on social
which is
media.
so fun. But I do miss a little bit when you would be on Disney Channel, especially because that's like the only channel that I watched. And you would like watch a show and then they would be like, don't forget this Friday night, there's a new movie. And you're like, oh, maybe I'll check that out. And then there's trailers for other things. And it's like you just get hype all week because there's like all these things happening that you hear about from watching TV as opposed to watching those one-off episodes feels like such a like solo activity now. You know what I mean?
It does. And then you have to seek it out in your algorithms.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Like, I'm getting fed all the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives right now because I binged the heck out of that last weekend.
You did.
Have you?
I watched the first episode and I couldn't get into it.
Megan.
I know.
We have so much to talk about.
I know. I need to give it another shot because I was so excited to watch it. I think my expectations were just really high.
And you're like a big reality TV girly, so I feel like you have high standards when it comes to reality TV.
Thank you very much.
I don't. So I'm like hooked. Like, even the smallest bit of drama, I'm like, ooh, tell me more. And then like it turns out to be nothing.
It's been so, like you said, it's been all over my social media. So I feel like I need to give it another shot because I'm sure I will end up getting hooked into it. I just need to give it another episode.
Yeah, there's just some memes I want to send you, so
okay.
Let me know if you dive back in, but no worries if not.
You can also send them to me. You're allowed. You're allowed to spoil.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. We hope you liked it.
And come back next week for another Halloween classic.
I am so excited. I cannot wait for next week's episode.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.